Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Runesnow, and today we'll be going over the top 10 emissary cards in all of Magic. And now, at number 10. So we're going to start off with Verduran Emissary. It's from Invasion or Dual Decks, Phyrexia versus Coalition. It's an uncommon with an average price of 22 cents. You'll probably see a few of these Invasion cards as emissaries were quite popular back in the Invasion series. So this one has kicker. Basically, it says when it comes into play, if you pay the kicker cost, destroy target artifact. It can't be regenerated. 3 for a 2/3 is not too bad, but it does force you to play mounds with this combination, and artifact can be useless. That's why it's at number 10. So let's move on to number 9, which we have is Benelish Emissary. It's from an Invasion. It's an uncommon going for the average price of 17 cents on the market. This one is basically like the other one, but this one says when it comes into play, if it was paid with the kicker cost, destroy target land. So that's especially really cool ability, and it's destroying with the forest as the kicker instead of a mountain. So I really think this is why it's deserving at number 9 and number 10, because this seems more versatile. So let's move on to number 8. Well, we got Emissary of Grudges from Commander 2018, rare, with an average price of 18 cents on the market, so it's just as expensive as those uncommons. Well, it costs 6 mana for a 6/5 flying haste. Pretty cool, impressive. It when it enters the battlefield, secretly choose an opponent. Because it's from the Commander series, there are different rules for this card compared to the normal Magic. It says reveal the player you chose, choose a new target for that target spell or ability. If controlled by the chosen player and its targets or permanents you control, activate this ability only once. So again, this card is kind of useless, other than the fact that I do like the 6/5 flying haste. That's other than that, I don't really care about the revealed player part. So let's move on to number 7. And well, we got another Invasion. It's Urborg Emissary. It's from Invasion in common with an average price of 19 cents. Well, this one actually has, when you pay the kicker cost, return target permanent to its owner's hand. And as you guys know, I love Mana War so much from Vision. So this one I did put a personal interest into making this at number 7 is because I actually love return target permanent because it could be anything. So it could be a land, whatever. I found that more annoying than anything else. So let's move on to number 6. And next we got is Solitary Emissaries from Tempest. It's a rare with an average price of 45 cents on the market. Cost 2 mana for this 2/1, but you can pay 1 to gain Shadow. So basically it is saying that is an unblockable creature other than creatures with Shadow. And well, Shadow does not really exist nowadays, and when you build a vintage deck or type 1 or whatever you want to do, most likely you're not building a Shadow deck. And it costs money to do that. So this is why it's at number 6, though it's good and it's bad. So let's move on to number 5. And halfway down our list is Dras Amary from Battle for Zendikar or Mystery Booster. Uncommon with an average price of 42 cents on the market at the time of this video. Cost 3 mana for a 2/2 flyer. Says at the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 2 life. Now, this card alone per se isn't that great, but there are many combinations you can do with this card, especially when this is a flyer, and it does have the planes and swap, which makes it even better because that would be the typical combination you would do for such a card. This is why it's at number 5, so it's not the best, not the greatest, but it has the potential to create such havoc on the enemy if you do the right combination. So let's move on to number 4. At number 4, we have Kyler Sigaran Emissary from Midnight Hunt Commander. So it's pretty new at the time of this video. It's a mythic going, well, just about $1. Costs 5 mana for 2/2, so very not impressive, but it does have, whenever a human enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Other humans you control get +1/+1 for each counter on Kyler. So again, like the other card, it's all about the combination. So if you can pull it off with other cards, this card can be very powerful for 5 mana. Most likely you have all those humans already in play, but you can definitely work around that. So at number 3, we have Sarah's Emissary from Modern Horizons 2. It's a mythic with an average price of $3.18 on the market. And well, look at that. It costs 4 plus 3, so guess what? That's 7 for a 7/7 flyer. Very impressive, but on top of that, when it enters the battlefield, choose a card type. You and creatures you control have protection from the chosen card type. So it's not colors, but the chosen type. And I feel like this can be very helpful, especially if you're playing like a mono card deck like Goblin or what. Well, I guess Goblin would be too powerful against this deck, but you know what I'm saying. I think this card is very cool. It does cost a bit more money, but it does give you that protection. So let's move on to number 2. which we have is Leovold, Emissary of the Trest. It's from various sets. It's a mythic with an average price of $4.32. Cost 3 for a 3/3, so very impressive already on itself. It says each opponent can't draw more than one card each turn. Whenever you or a opponent you control becomes a target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, you may draw a card. So it's not in the real world, it's not very powerful, but when it comes to emissary cards, this card is very, very powerful, and it is kind of playable, especially when you're playing many blue decks. But let's straight up move on to number 1. Well, this one is pretty obvious. Well, it's Rofello's Land of War Emissary from Urza's Destiny. It's a rare with an average price of just over $40. And, well, 2 for a 2/1. Alright, whatever. But it's an ability. Of course, everyone should know this card. Add 1 green mana to your mana pool for each forest you control. And it only costs 2 mana to put into play. So if you can somehow protect Rofellos, you can bring out anything right away. It's just that powerful. I like the picture, I like the card, and this is very playable in any deck if you can somehow pull it off. I hope you guys have a good day and a good evening.